gli elenco, cosa faccio?
Okay, recording has started, and I think we're already with 33 people at the moment.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll kick off then briefly and then hand over to Thomas. So welcome everyone who's already there, and we'll welcome others, probably a few more in due course. Happy to see so many of you already hooking up to our second experts call. We have quite a bit of an agenda like last time. So I don't know who many of you may have been joining last time already also. The recording of that last session is still available on our website. So for those of you who haven't joined last time and still want to see the old recording, that's still available. We will talk now mainly on our theme of the second semester, which is soil. We had some workshops on the theme of our second semester in our meeting in Larissa in Greece in March. So some of you will recall what we have discussed there. Maybe some of you have some new information on the topic or want to join us. Please join our discussion then. In that case, just after the speakers. Well, as I said, I'll hand over the floor now to Thomas, who will host this expert call. And feel free to ask if you have any questions after the speakers that we have. Thomas.
Hello everyone, and welcome to this experts meeting. Nice to see you all, and I think that many of you have been already in Greece in our on-site field visit. So nice to meet you again and see you here. Now I will share my screen just to show the agenda of this webinar, and then I will give the floor to the speakers. Just confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, so as already Vice said, the idea throughout this semester is to explore more the soil improvement practices to improve soil, and how can we use soil and soil remains for the sustainable construction. So today we have three very good speakers on this field, and we will start with Dr. Vasilis Philippou. Some of you already met Vasilis in Greece in our site visit, and Vasilis will navigate us to the use of agricultural remains for the soil improvement, give us a more practical example. Then Vasilis is a director of Energy Community of Karditsa and also scientific associate at the Center for Research and Technology Hellas in Greece. Then we will go to sustainable construction, and we will check here products and services. Iztok Kamensky, president of Green Building Council Slovenia, will guide us to this session. And finally, we will explore a practical example in organic and regenerative farming methods with the help of Dr. Eleonora Giulio Dori, representative of La Cocina Dorata from Italy, a more practical aspect of our theme, of our issue. And then, in the end, we will open the discussion and give the floor to everyone through a collaborative exercise, closing session, where actually we will explore the question: if we want more soil positive practices to happen in reality, what should come first? back in March, we have a discussion in Greece about that, but I think that we can now go to a more targeted way, a more practical way to discuss how can we encourage, even through ABC project, some some soil positive practices and policies. So now we'll give the floor first to Dr. Philippou. And of
Can I
course,
just interrupt briefly, Thomas? If I
oh,
see the
yes.
agenda now, it looks like we are finished at 14:50, but after that, of course, is the floor to you also for additional discussion or in between or
Sorry,
even after.
it's a mistake in the agenda. Actually, we will finish after. This was a mistake here. I saw it
okay.
now. Sorry. So we will have after and after 3 o'clock. This panel session will take us about 20 minutes. But of course, we can open the discussion and discuss also in more general way this thing.
Yeah, of course. Okay, wonderful.
Thank you, sir. So Vasilis, can you share the screen? Can you hear us?
Yes, of course. Can you hear me?
Of course, yes.
Great, great. First of all, I would like to thank you so much for inviting me to participate in this great workshop. It's an honor for us to participate our practices regarding the circular economy and the soil improvement. Let me share quickly my screen. I just need to validate that you see my screen. Let me see. This is. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
You can see in presentation mode, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, my name is Vasilis Philippou. I'm from Greece. I'm a member of the energy community of Karditsa, and I'm a scientific associate at CERF, a research organization in Greece. And today I'm going to present you how we valorize agricultural residual biomass in order to improve the soil quantity, and some examples that we have already investigated through the last years in the energy community, and how we want to proceed in the future. But first of all, I told you that I'm from the energy community, but most of you probably won't know what energy communities are. So energy communities are projects participated by citizens, local business, municipality, and collectively we try to produce, manage or share the energy. So we try to create a local and clean and affordable energy solution, but this solution owned by the community. This is what energy community are, and in practice, we want to create a strong social and environmental impact. We want to empower the local communities. We want to increase the social cohesion. We want to educate, to build skills, to build capacity. We want to have efficiency in the resources. We want to integrate the circular economy practices. And Europe says that energy communities are a key driver for energy transition in Europe. So this is what an energy community looks like in the European level. And let's go specifically to us. Energy community of Karditsa. It's a community that located in the center of Greece, in the Thessaly region. You can see the prefecture, the geographical map of the prefecture of Karditsa, and by the look of it, you can tell that it's almost divided into two equal parts. Most of it is the Karditsa plain. We have the agriculture cultivations there, and we have semi-mountain and mountain areas. But we have a huge area that located in the prefecture of Karditsa, and we just cultivate this area in various cultivations. So we have huge potential biomass in the prefecture of Karditsa. The first and the most core cultivation is cotton. You can see it, cotton and maize. It's supposed that in Europe, Greece is the lead country of cotton production, then goes Spain, but the 80% of Euro cotton produced in Greece, and most of it produced in Thessaly. region, we have straw, we have municipal biomass, we have wood processing industries, and we have mountain areas. So what we want to do is not to go and cut the forest from the forest, cut the trees from the forest, or alter the agriculture that we have here in the area. We just want to valorize the residual biomass. And if you look at the numbers always say the truth, and the residual agricultural biomass goes up to thousands of tons per year. And most of it, let's say all of it, remain unexploited. So most of the time it burns in open fires or integrated in the soil, causing some problems to the farmers in the future in the next cultivations. So what we want to do here is to valorize the residual biomass, produce something, and then return it back to the soil in order to increase the biomass we'll take and increase the soil quantities. So I have it only in Greek, but I will translate, of course, this slide. We're focusing on cotton residual biomass because cotton is the lead production, the lead cultivation here in the area. So we have here the residual cotton biomass that we produce pellet of it. We densified the residual biomass, the residual cotton biomass. We're talking about the stems that remains in the field after the farmers will collect the cotton flower. Remain the stems. It's a lignocellulosic material, and we took these materials. We produce pellet. We will burn it to biomass boilers in order to produce heat. We will use it to a gasification plant to use heat and electricity, but the gasification plant has one residual. It is a residual for the gasification plant, but it's gold for us because this is biochar, and biochar, it's a perfect material to integrate in the soil as a soil amendment. This is how we imagine the circular economy, that we can collect the biomass from the fields, produce energy, thermal or electricity, and again integrate it back in the soil. But first thing first, we need to somehow map the quantities of the cotton production that we have in our cultivations. We know that we have a lot of cotton in the area, but we use remote sensing for estimate the cotton residual biomass in the Karditsa prefecture. We integrate satellite data and drone flights just to map everything, to have the mapping of vegetation index, to assess the crop quality. And we are planning to produce some machine learning algorithm to estimate the unavailable biomass that we're going to have in the future, and the support supply chain modeling. That's something that we need in order to have it in a valuable way, in order to valorize it. So what we have done, we went to the cotton fields, and we used two different methods of stems collection of that woody part. First, we thought that we can use some machinery that regularly used in the cultivations, but not in the cotton, because in the cotton, the residual biomass remains in the fields. Nothing happens here in Greece. So we use machinery that they use in other cultivations, and we cut the stems from the fields, we chipped it, and we transfer it to our facilities. And through this procedure, we have some, let's say, initial outcomes. We harvest about 14 hectares. We collect about 43 tons of wet material from the fields. And we estimated somehow the price, the break-even price of wet ton, in order to have an economic estimation of what we are doing. And the second method was not the chips, but the bales. So what we have done, we try to use machinery that they use for other cultivation as well, and then we cut the stems. We withdraw. We use withdraw equipment for forming the rows. We use a bale round bale machine in order to have them in bales and then transfer them to our facilities. You can see here some movement in the pictures, how those machines are worked during our pilot. We harvest about 7 hectares, about 12 tons of wet biomass. And those are the two methods that we did here in the area with the machinery that we have, the machinery that the farmers can have, in order to convince them that if you use your machines, you can take the residual biomass, you can make profit of it, and then something can be returned back to your fields in order to increase the soil quantity and have better crops in the future. This is the idea. So all this biomass transferred to our facilities, and we had some storage trial. Why we did some storage trial? Just to understand how much period you can store the biomass before composting, in order to use it for energy or for densification biomass or whatever. But after that point, it just compost. That it's great. You can use it as soil amendment. But what we have done is to use the bales and the chips in piles. Some bales and chips are covered with this green sheet, let's say, and the other it's not. We have some sensor inside measuring the temperature, measuring the moisture. We have samples to analyze every 4 months, just to be sure that we know that this is the breaking point, that you can use it for energy or you can use it just for a compost. And then we pelletize part of this material. We produce pellets in order to send those pellets to a gasification plant in a city nearby to Karditsa. It's called the city of Larissa. You've been there 1 month ago, and we have a partnership with Agrigas. Agrigas is a gasification plant there, in order to use the cotton pellets that we produce in order to produce electricity. But the residual would be this biochar, and we will take this biochar and we will put it back in the fields that we took the stems, and then the biochar will give, let's say, nutrients to the field. But something very important here, at least in Greece, we have a huge problem regarding the water supplies. Will reduce the water footprint of the cultivation, because biochar has a very specific property, and this property is to absorb the moisture in the mass and keep it there. And by this way, you need less watering, less irrigation, let's say, to the cultivations, meaning that you improve the soil, you have less water. And this is a part of the circular economy, because you took the residual biomass, you produce energy, and then you put it back in the soil as a soil amendment. And this is how we, let's say, how we think, the way that we can valorize the local biomass to produce energy, not only energy, but materials for soil. Of course, the community is not just the plant, the pellet plant that you see there. It's a group of people, 400 members, and very often we have workshops, we have wind fountains, many schools, universities are coming to our facilities, and together we try to co-create the future, let's say, of bioeconomy in the local level. So I think that those are, let's say, some thoughts that I want to share with you about how we'll valorize the residual biomass. I will stop now the share screen, and of course I'm at your disposal if you need, if it's something that you need.
Okay, maybe before we go to the next, Thomas, maybe from my side, a very short question, because we were, of course, in your
Yes.
facilities, and you also mentioned that part of the biomass is also used to make building material. We didn't hear you
Yes.
about that, so
Yes, I
maybe
didn't
it's
show
a very
that.
short. You can add a few words about that.
Yes, of course. I think I have it, but I have it in Greek. This is why I didn't translate to you.
Okay.
But if you see here, of course, I will elaborate on this. Just let me show you again the presentation, and you can see it's in Greek. You cannot understand, but biochar can produce soil amendment, but biochar can produce here materials like particle boards. And what we intend to do is to combine cotton residual biomass with biochar and produce construction materials like particle boards in order to sustain the woody biomass, the woody particle boards that already exist in the market, and have alternative materials that we can use it for thermal insulation, sound insulation, stuff like that.
Okay. Good. Okay, this was for now. Let's go to the next, Thomas. Sorry.
Thank you, Vasilis. I see a raised hand before go to the next. From Commerciale, I don't know the real name.
I cannot hear you.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
muted.
hello. My name is Maria Elena Alessandrini, and I'm from Italy, at Il Canapa company. I was invited by a AP member of this group, and I would like to add something to what Filippo said. That is to say that biochar is a very important component to be used for plasters, for stuccos, for any materials to finish inside walls, and they are very important to cover from magnetic areas. So there are several studies. I can share with you one that is from Turin, Polytechnic of Turin, and they fully studied that adding biochar in plaster, we can create a sort of limit for magnetic waves coming in. That's what I wanted to share with you for your knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting. Thank you. Also, we will have time after the presentations to discuss things about that, and this is very interesting. Now, of course, I would like to thank again Vasilis for the presentation, and let's now go to our Slovenian partners and Isto Kamensky to explain us a bit more about sustainable construction and the use of this material in construction generally. Is Doc?
Yes,
we saw
hello,
your
can you
screen?
hear me?
Okay. Yes.
Yes, can you hear me? You see
Yes,
the
yes.
presentation?
I see this. Yeah, we see it. Yes. thank you.
Okay, I will put these presentations like in these first steps because I'm afraid that if we go to the whole screen that it wouldn't roll the presentation. So I will present in behalf of Slovensko združenje za trajnostno gradnjo, GBC Slovenia, and I will speak about sustainable construction products and services, not in specific products and services, but in general. So what is the basic of that? We have some challenges here in Slovenia. We have a shortage of skilled workers and urgency over qualities. What is that urgency over quality? We don't have enough labor available on the market, so we prioritize quantity on behalf of quality. We have a low level of training and expertise and very limited understanding of sustainable construction. We have in the project Top Clever that I will present in the next slides, we have some presentation, some surveys, and we ask what is sustainable construction, what are sustainable eco design construction, and they don't understand what is the meaning of that. Then we have a very big lack of practical green skills, mostly on the construction for the construction workers. Some practical or theoretical skills about green buildings, sustainable buildings in the field of engineers and architects. And in Slovenia, we have also shortage of certificate sustainable products, because Slovenia is very small market, and because it's very small market and the price of certificate sustainable products are very high, we have a small amount of sustainable products from the other European market. What are the solution of sustainable construction? In this project, we want to strengthen VET and training programs on the field of sustainability. Also provide hands-on sustainability trainings. We have a lot of these trainings for construction workers, for architects, for engineers, that we improve knowledge of green materials and methods. But we see on these workshops that we must improve the ordinary knowledge of construction materials, not only of green materials and methods. This is very big challenges for GBC Slovenia, and we involve a lot of partners from the production side. That means from the firms like Xela, Joop, and so on, and from research institutes like ZAK, ZRMK, INNORENEW, and so on. So we also encourage continuous upskilling of the workers. Here we have a big obstacle by blue collars, because by white collars, engineers, architects, we have very structured and organized continuous upskilling program, but for blue collars, there is a huge shortage. Then we align workforce skills with sustainability goals, and support affordable certification schemes. Here we also have some high obstacles, because certification schemes, when we want to certify some products in the Slovenian market, the price is high and the sale is very low. So it's very challenging that we see in the Slovenian market green sustainable products from the Slovenian producers. And we want to also increase demand for certificate sustainable products. What is the meaning or the mission of GBC Slovenia? We promote sustainable building solution. Here we see a lot of problems, because all these new buildings, multi-story buildings, are all green, sustainable, and so on. But as we see in this picture, we see ordinary multi-story buildings made of concrete, and nothing green or sustainable is here. So we want to raise awareness and educate the public on sustainable constructions, buildings, products, and services. Also, we foster collaboration between research, education, and industry. Here we act as a central platform for the knowledge, and we encourage knowledge transfer across all stakeholders in the built environment. We also promote small steps to the green building future, because one big step is made it in last time is made it in the Brazil, where they have a green conference and cut 100 of forests that made railway to the conference rooms. So we seek true sustainability, true green buildings, and small steps to this goal. So 2 years ago, we joined Top Clever project. We are promoters and workers on this project in Slovenia, We have three big groups that we deal with. First is white-collar professionals, that is engineers, architects, managers. We want to promote advanced training on a whole life carbon assessment and integration of circular economy principles. We develop strategic and digital skills and also encourage leadership and gender equality in the sector. Here, by the engineers, architects, managers of the multi-story buildings, we have less problems because we are well known in Slovenian market that we organize workshops, big conferences on these topics. Also, engineers and architects are very well organized to upskill their knowledge, and they must have each year must have 6 points that can work in this sector. So top clever white collar professionals, we develop a lot of documentation on these topics and provide this knowledge to this segment of professionals. The next are the blue collars. In Slovenia, we don't have a lot of problems in this field. Other GBCs in the Spain, Italy, and so on, they have some issues because they don't work so much in this field for blue-collar workers, construction workers, that mean painters, that mean façadeurs, installers of different materials, electricians, and so on. We promote here and do also practical training for on-site skills in sustainable constructions, and we focus on low-carbon materials and circular building practices. Also, we have focus on normal work in the field they will work or they work. That means we show some details. We show how to work properly with materials that don't lose properties like energy efficiency and so on. Also, we upskilling these workers to meet future labor market demands because the market demands changes all the time, all the years. There are different new materials are coming, and they must know how to install, how to deal with, how to mix it, and so on. So if we don't make attention on these points, they do it on the usual way, and they make mistakes, and also durability of these materials are very low, and instead of 10-15 years are 2-3 years, and they must repair and so on. The third segment, big segment, are not only secondary school students, but also we promote this Top Clever project in the high schools for professionals, for builders, for economists. We introduce them to sustainable construction and green buildings concept, but nevertheless, we have two, three workshops in the secondary schools, and I must say they have middle or very low knowledge about normal work in their professions, not in the sustainable construction, green building concepts. They don't understand what is sustainable construction, what is green building concept. They are very young, I understand, but they don't understand the basic of sustainability in the construction. So we develop very basic skills and awareness in sustainability constructions for this segment. The knowledge in the next level, that means in high school and for academics is higher than in secondary schools, but here comes a very big gap very big gap what we seek in the market and what is the knowledge of these students or these people in the secondary schools. Also here we promoted equal opportunities, but as we see, we do these workshops in the secondary school for builders, for façadeurs, installers of some materials, and among 40, 50, these students are only 1 or 2 women. So it's mostly this men work and promoting equal opportunities very difficult in this field. This Top Clever project is now by the end, but we must do this promotion and education for another 5 years. And participate countries in this project are Italy, Slovenia, Spain, Hungary, Croatia, Poland, and UK. And additional goal that we have in this project is creation that we started already of a global education platform which is based in the GBC UK, where we will sharing knowledge and training materials that we develop for blue collars. Almost I must think, but it's all around 800 pages, and for white collar around 1,100 pages, very useful materials, and that we connected green buildings stakeholders across Europe and worldwide. We have a big opportunity here because we are part of GBC, World GBC, which is located all around the world. We have almost 40 GBCs here in Europe and also in Africa, Asia, and America. So as we see a big opportunity here and a lot of work that we educate about sustainability, about materials that go toward green building future. Thank you.
Many thanks, Doc, and thank you for highlighting the need for education actually to achieve sustainable buildings and sustainable construction. I don't know if you have questions now, or we can go to the next speaker and then we can discuss all presentations.
Thank you. You have also GBC Greece, and you can contact them and ask about these materials if you want.
Thank you. Very interesting. Yes. Yes.
And are you also in contact already with Latvia? We have, of course, the Fietsemes Augstschule.
No, Latvia, I don't think so that you have GBC there.
Okay, because we have Fietsemes Augstschule on board in our partnership, and they are also building a new building school, the green building school, you can say. So I'm quite sure they are interested in joining you.
Perfect.
Okay, very well. And let's now go to our next speaker, Dr. Eleonora Giulio Dori from Italy, to show us an example, a practical example of regenerative farming and general practices to enhance soil and sustainability from Italy.
Yeah, hello. I hope you can hear me because my connection is not amazing, but hopefully you can all see me and hear me.
Yes.
So my presentation is going to be partially very personal. So I'm going to share my experience and sort of how I got into agriculture from my studies, but also from living in the UK for quite a long period of time. And how sort of that experience and their very unique relationship with green spaces has sort of shaped my way of thinking about growing and more in general soil ecology. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it's going to work. Let me know.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that's great. I don't seem to be able to do the projection, but hopefully if you can see it like this, I'm just gonna do like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I introduced myself. My name is Eleonora. Also, apologies, I'm at home and my son is here, my dogs, so probably you can hear lots of background noise, but I can't do anything about it. So as I said, I lived in the UK for quite some time, and then I moved back to Italy. But before that, I studied forestry, agriculture and forestry at the University of Ancona for 3 years, and then I've done my master's degrees in Padova. And then I ended up in the UK, where actually I was lucky enough to get some funding to do a traineeship, which was in horticulture, so nothing about growing. But I sort of had the opportunity to study soil and plant ecology and botany, but from a different perspective, which is the one of environmental horticulture. And actually during my training, and now I'm going to make you laugh showing you some more funny pictures, but I've done a very intense training about how to look after the soil, how to sort of maximize the beauty in our green spaces, but looking after the soil. So soil was always something really important. And yes, I did get my tractor license and also my spraying license, but it really struck to me how they really taught us how to try to avoid any mechanization as much as possible, or avoid using any synthetic chemicals, even in gardens, actually especially in gardens, because in gardens you have actually more interaction with people as well. So it was a great opportunity for me to sort of deepen my knowledge, but also to really think about practically how we can live our green spaces. And then everything was sort of very inspirational, especially for somebody that loves plants and loves soil ecology, plenty of gardens, but also gardens, historic gardens, but where they grow for production. So they decided to turn some of these spaces into productive areas where they actually sell their produce. And particularly I work in a garden at some point where that was my team of volunteers. But the aim was to produce for the cafe and for the sale. And so actually I started, and everything was organic and organically certified. So the challenge was how we can actually start producing good quantities of vegetables and quality vegetables to actually sell to the public and also to restaurants, so to the complete different output. And at the time, there was somebody from the UK called Charles Dowding. I'm not sure if anyone has ever heard of him. It's no one that is involved into academic studies, but he's a great sort of speaker. So his ability was to really reach out to normal people that were growing and producing. And he started talking about a technique called no-dig, which basically needs to not work the soil and to not dig the soil as much as possible. All of this was relatively small scale. So the biggest garden where I worked was about 1.5 acres. But then at some point I also ended up working for 2 Michelin star chef, and we transform his production into a completely not till, not dig, but intensive and enormously high quality production. So the challenges were very great, and I feel like I've learned a lot. I'll go back to this later. But basically, I decided to come back to Italy and sort of try to translate this no-dig system into a growing vegetables production. And I just want to show you what are the key points of this no-dig method. But I feel like it is nothing completely new, nothing that we don't know. But just keeping these 5 things in mind all the time at any point during the growing season actually really changes completely the way that we grow our vegetables. So the aim is just to keep the soil covered, and it's mostly with organic matter, but even better with roots. So we use cover crops, but we also use mulch like hay or straw, which hay in particular we produce in our farm. So it's all sort of a circular economy, but also compost. And compost is great because is a material that is improving the soil, improving its structure, but also is directly feeding the microorganism in the soil. And at the same time, having compost and roots of cover crops or the vegetables is what is keeping this microorganism even more alive in the ground. And basically, the key point is to keep this life in the soil alive as much as possible by connecting it to as many plants as possible. And why this is true? Is it because plants can do something that no one else can do, which is photosynthesis? It's as simple as that. So this relationship, this incredibly strong and unique relationship that creates between microorganism and plants through photosynthesis is what is keeping our soil alive, basically. And every time we use synthetic fertilizers or any synthetic chemicals, or even worse, pesticides, we basically interfere with this extremely powerful balance and connection that it forms. And you've probably heard of this sentence, the soil food web, this incredible network of all the type of life in the soil, which we know not much about. We know very little, especially when we talk about the fungi part in the soil, all the mycorrhiza and everything else. We know the presence, but we are nowhere near to classify all the species that there are. We know, I don't know, like about 3%. I remember a study from Kew Gardens show a few years ago. So we need to keep alive this connection. And actually, some very empirical studies and that were carried out in the UK show basically this, which is really interesting. They kept a ground dug, so worked deeply, 40 centimeters, and another one next to it, undug at all, so completely not worked. And in both of them, they kept adding organic matter every spring. One worked in, the other one not. And they grew the same thing throughout the year. And what they saw was that on average, the part of the soil, the part of the productive area that was not worked was producing about 30% more compared to the other one. But the most interesting thing is when the production was higher, and the production was higher in the spring, when basically the dug parcel of the ground, the one that was worked, produced less at the beginning of the season. And this is because that network, that soil food web, was just being basically destroyed by working the ground, literally. Obviously, I'm talking about work quite deep, talking about 30, 40, 50, 60 centimeters, something in Italy everyone, or most of the people, most of the farmers still do. So, you know, there are practices, there are regenerative practices, but they're not that widespread yet. And actually, smaller farms are the ones that are taking this matter to heart and actually trying to find solution and trying to see how we can talk about regenerative agriculture and be practical enough. Anyway, going back to the soil food web, the experiments show that at the point that after a few months, so like October time, when the worked soil had the time to sort of renovate and build up again the web, then the production was the same. So after a few months, and in the meantime, we lost 30% of production just by working the soil, not adding any fertilizers or anything apart from compost. So the key at the end is to feed the soil and not the plants. So keep the soil alive by feeding it with roots, with plants, and with organic matter. I could probably talk for an hour about how to actually implement a no-dig system, but I'm very briefly going to show you how we did it here. We're still in UK. And there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, consideration that you have to keep in mind about what's your, what's the soil like. Where do you start? So for example, here the farm was called Sandy Lane, and the key was in the name. It was a very sandy soil, and they had this sort of secondary prairie, and how to sort of eliminate the competition of these grasses in order to create these beds where we basically don't need to do any weeding anymore. And the solution is to do like a cover. In Italiano, we call it occultamento, so like completely to cover with a tarp for a period of time that has to be long enough to sort of deal with the with the grasses or the plants that we want to eradicate, basically, in order to then grow. Couch grass, for example, in Italian is called gramigna. It's a very important, ecologically important plant, but it is very difficult to grow through it. And then normally we plow it in, but we make it a lot worse. So actually to cover it and do this occultation for at least 6 months during the growing season, and then proceed to create these permanent beds, actually allows you not to do any more weeding at all in the future growing season. What we are doing now in Italy differently is to apply a mulch under the plastic in order to sort of insulate the ground a little bit, because in the summer, after this plastic, the temperature goes really high, 60, 70, 80 degrees, and that's not a temperature that is compatible with life. So we apply this thick layer of mulch, normally hay, because that's what we have, but nothing stops you from, for example, sowing a cover crop and then just flattening down and then cover it with a tarp. And actually that amount that you're putting under the tarp will allow the microorganism to be alive and to have something to eat, and the temperature to sort of be a little bit cooler in the time that we sort of get rid of the plants of the prairie, basically. And then the tarp is still a soil disturbance because it's heavy, because we don't do any photosynthesis for at least 6 months. So it's a disturbance. It's not as heavy as a plow, but it's still a disturbance. So the first thing that we normally do using a broad fork is just to aerate the soil. But on a bigger scale, you can do it with a seam miller machine that basically just cuts the soil to allow air in. And then you proceed, creating your permanent beds, and the size and the material, they're completely up to you. So like here we used cardboard boxes to sort of create an extra barrier for weeds, but I can show you they never came back. And then we used wood chip for path. So the paths are supposed to just be walked on, but at the same time, being woody material, they're supposed to feed the fungi that are in the soil. So all the fungal part in the soil, and comes in Italy at least, comes September, October, they're covered with all type of fungi all the time. It's pretty amazing, and you can use. We use wood chip that we create in the farm, because we have olive trees, fruit trees. We have a small woodland that is an easy material to to collect and to then chip. We bought our chipper. But also is a material that lots of people that work in arboriculture, forestry, is a material that people want to get rid of. And actually in Italy, it's difficult to get rid of it. You have to pay to put it in places to be burnt, or I don't know. But actually it's great even if you don't work in a no-dig system, just to put it on the side and let it compost. It makes a wonderful compost that then you can add to your growing medium, or you can make beds or amend your soil. So it's a wonderful material. And we are starting from this year trying to make biochar too. So I will let you know how that goes. But yeah, and then for the beds in Sandy Lane farm case, we used farm manure because they had animals as well, and then just a thin layer of compost of council waste on top. Council waste is something that in the UK is widely available and actually is pretty good quality. In Italy, it's not so easy. It's not so easy to find. So I ended up making a slightly different decision when it came to my farm, and I put this picture here to remind myself to tell you that the best time to actually create your beds is the winter, the autumn and the winter, especially if you work with a system with compost, because you really need to work with a compost that has a certain level of humidity. And in this country, in Italy at least, to make no-dig beds from now until August with the temperature that we have, and is impossible. It basically loses all the humidity, and then it gets impossible to rehydrate it again. And this was Sandy Lane a few months later. As you can see, it's really important once you've done your bed to plant it immediately, because the plant is that sort of key connection between what's below and the air and the sky, basically, and the energy of the sun. And it's not just normal planting, but it's really dense planting, so trying to maximize the number of roots in the ground. I'm just gonna skip this because I'm afraid I'm gonna be too long otherwise. This is a farm in the UK. Is a farm of my friend Josh, and he took the no-dig system into another level, where basically he doesn't do any occultation. It doesn't cover at all for a long period of time, but he basically embraces growing through indigenous plants and prairies and grasses, and just use a very thick, deep mulching system, using hay, using straw, using biochar and all ingredients that they produce at the farm. And you have to sort of embrace a complete different mindset, I think, because to grow and harvest into a farm that is like this, you need to know where everything is. You need to exactly know what the system is, and it requires like a certain type of organization. Traditional farms are a lot easier because anyone can sort of step in and start working, because it's obvious where the lines are and where the plants are and the crops are. So I think as a society, I think it would take a while before we can actually embrace growing our food into a system like this. But it is a possibility, and some people are doing it very successfully. We are doing it in a little bit more straightforward way. So always using, this is my farm at the beginning, so 4 years ago, using straight lines. We're trying to follow a little bit the movement of water underground, which we sort of studied looking at the farm and the hill from above. And we purchase a compost, a very high quality compost. It probably was my biggest investment. So I didn't invest in any tractor or any machinery, but on really good compost, and that gave me the kickstart and the certainty that I could start growing straight away onto an amazing medium, basically, but also gave an amazing kickstart to the soil biology. So I don't regret doing it. It was the best probably investment. And then, as I said, we also bought a chipper, and we produce all our wood chip. which is ramial wood chip. So as I said earlier, pruning branches, which is different from a wood chip from the inner part of the wood. That's got a lot more tannins and it lasts a lot longer. But I think the ramial wood chip is actually better in terms of feeding the ground. This is just a close-up picture. And in the winter, we tend to do a lot of intercropping. I've some pictures later, but in the summer, sort of to help us with the watering and to reduce the amount of water that we use, which is already massively reduced by the organic matter. So already the compost cover allow us to water a lot less. But in the summer, we use a lot of straw and hay to sort of really mulch our plants and our summer crops. So tomatoes, courgettes, cucumbers, anything. We just apply a very thick layer of mulch. And then this is, especially in the case of hay, this is amazing because come September, that starts to germinate. And so we get like a cover crop, a spontaneous cover crop, which keeps our ground covered with roots in the winter. And then we just basically use the tarp to end the crop and the cover crop at the end of the winter. And then in the spring, we're ready to go. We're ready to go again. And we do this on rotation. So there are some beds in the winter where we keep growing, and then others that have the cover crops and indigenous as well, because the hay comes from the farm. So it's always the same seeds, the same microorganisms that live in our farm, and they're all there. And here I just wanted to show you how the ground is really improving just after a few years. And this was a situation where we started from. So the O layer and the A layer are actually pretty good. So I started from a soil that was already pretty good. But we also have a wider farm, as I said, is 17 hectares in total, 6 of which is woodland, but most of it is pastures, and we make hay, which we sell to other farms. They have animals, and this is our neighbors. They're definitely not organic, and definitely they don't do what we do. And you can't see here, but we planted a hedgerow of native plants, and we're planting more hedgerow to sort of increase the level of biodiversity above the ground, not just where we grow the vegetables, but in the whole farm. And as I said, we have olives and pomegranates, so we try to be as holistic as possible. And also we grow cut flowers, and this is something that I brought back from my UK experience. Obviously, I can't really do it like they do in the UK because the weather is different, the climate is different, but I'm trying to bring beauty as well, which helps the people that come to buy and help us that work there, and I think helps the environment as well. And this is just some pictures of our produce. This is just interesting. It's just the level of intercropping that we do. Probably here we have exaggerated a little bit, but there's like lettuce, beetroot, rocket, and then in the middle there's onion. So just to talk about the diversity above the ground, but also all the different leaves and the different colors. So the beetroot is red, for example, to catch different wavelength of light and to do, to increase the photosynthesis. Same here, flowers and basil. So we try to cover everything with as much biodiversity as possible. We also grow some flowers as cut flowers too, but also to attract bees, insects, birds that are sort of helping us as well with the integrated pest management. I didn't talk about it, and that's the last picture. Let's close with some beauty. Bringing beauty above the ground and bringing life below the ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleonora, for this deep dive. Now, I don't know if you have any of you have questions or remarks on this slide or even the speakers before.
Maybe just a brief one. I saw already Nina writing it, but others are also asking, so please share your presentations directly with us or through Thomas and with us from the project, so we can also circulate it to everyone joining and also to everyone else interested later on. So please share your presentations afterwards. Okay, let's go to the next questions, Thomas.
Ernesto has a question here.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Eleonora, for the amazing presentation. Thank you. Probably we got cross sometimes because I'm from the faculty in Ancona, and maybe you don't remember me, but I remember, but I don't know, that cut to the chase. Thank you for the presentation. Brilliant and lovely. I have a couple of questions. One practical request. The last slides were about Iofa in Italy. Okay, so I got exactly.
Yes, sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, okay, but my question is, based on your experience in UK, because working with garden allotments and local communities and people is not a piece of cake, and you did a great job. And the best practices that you create is something that the public administration is uptaking and training into the planning practices, or it remains confined into some local activities of very committed people.
You mean in the UK or here?
Yeah. No, I know the Italian situation very well, but after the Brexit, I lost the track, and I'm really curious to know, because these things are extremely important.
Yeah, no, actually, I think when I went to the UK at first, there was less awareness. I'm talking about 12, 13 years ago, maybe. And in some of the gardens where I work at first, there was very little awareness about soil. But then as I started my studies, I don't know, it pretty much happened at the same time. But everyone now is really careful about soil. And it's something that is embedded into society. There's a TV program on a Friday evening, so something that everyone will watch, which is called Gardener's World. It sounds really silly to say that on an academic presentation, but the whole of the society watches it, and they always talk about soil and the life in the soil, and it's not just the earthworms that you see, but it's all the mycorrhiza and the fungi and all millions of microorganisms, and we need to look after them because basically they are the solution to potentially climate change, and they are experiencing climate change, I think, a little bit more than we are, or maybe that we are in Marche, in this central Italy where we are now. I lived mostly in southeast of England, so I'm talking about that area. But they are experiencing very dry springs, a lot more than they used to. Very hot summer, so very often it will get to 35, 38 degrees. So something that they're not used to, and they need to start, especially the agriculture and the gardens, they need to find a way to cope with it. And they're lucky because they have access to mulch, compost, wood chip, manure, a lot more than we do in this part of Italy, at least. They're surrounded by farms. They all have farm animals, especially. And they used to sort of incorporate it in the ground, so to work the ground, to incorporate it and then work it again. But now they just started just to lie on and just to keep it undug and to disturb the soil as least as possible. And actually is helping them. Everyone does it. And also something that really amazed me was the fact that they really care about the ecological importance of the green spaces, whether it's a small terrace or a bigger garden or a city garden or allotment. They all know that they are ecological corridors where animals and birds and insects can actually travel and move around. They're all aware of that, and they really try to look after it. I hope I answer your question.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you very much. And the organizer allowed me for a second question. Do you? That'd be good.
Short one, if possible.
Yeah, okay, thank you. No, in case that practices would take off, let's imagine that. Do you think that the availability of materials you need, biochar, mulch, would be an issue, or we have plenty of, and what we miss for the moment is just the willingness of the public administrations or the organization, the extension services to booster this kind of approaches?
I mean, I can only give you my opinion, obviously, but I think we need better networking also between farmers, and also we need to be allowed to better do this networking, because very often legislation and also local legislation, not just national, for example, it is a problem for me to go and get manure from the farmer who is feeding his horses with my hay. Just the fact that I have to transport it for a kilometer on a tractor on the road, that is considered as a rifiuto speciale, so something dangerous. Even if then I stock it well and properly, just the transportation is an issue. And for small farmers, it's really difficult to actually do all the paperwork and understand how to navigate this in a way to make it. There is definitely a system, but it's just so difficult to get to it and to understand it. And I think, yes, there's lots of people with lots of willingness. There's actually a big network of small farmers that's just born in Italy called RAMI, RAMI, which in Italian is Rete Agroecologica di Microfarm. And he was born to sort of, not to overcome the law, obviously not, but just to better do networking between us and just to sort of communicate and try to help each other more, also to share resources, because there are lots of people that maybe do what I do on a bigger scale, and maybe they have machinery, and you need specific machinery not to work the ground deeply and everything else. But this machinery can be very expensive, so why don't we buy one machinery between 3 or 4 farms? Maybe it's up to us first, but at the same time, we need to sort of, what we were saying earlier, talk to children, talk to school, let people know what's the problem, but also let people know there are solutions, and there are lots of farmers that are trying to apply these solutions and try to be better. Our authorities are a bit blind at the moment, but because I think there are other issues. But I can't see, personally, this is my opinion, I can't see a bigger issue than climate change at the moment. And so this is the reason why I came here to do this job, to try to offer my solution and to try to test it and to try to create a model that can actually work on a small scale for now.
Thank you. Great. You nailed it. Thank you. And thank you, Hermas, for allowing me for the questions.
Maybe Eleanor, short question. Maybe you can stop sharing your screen, because I still see your screen, I believe. Yeah, that's easier. Then we see the whole group. Good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Eleanor. I think let's go to our final part. Starting from the question of Ernesto, I think that is very relevant. So the idea of all this of ABC project is how to incorporate, how to support all this sustainable construction, of course, regenerative practices in farming and soil. How can we support it through our policy instruments? And this is very important. How can we support everything and support and promote all these practices? So we prepared a very small collaboration here. I will share my screen now. Give me a second. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So So you can go in this slide, and we would like your opinion here. So if we want more soil positive practices to happen in reality, what should come first? The first word, you can understand what actions should be taken, what our policy instruments incorporate in order to promote all this. So you can also use this QR code here, or I can share also this. The link through the chat. Okay, and I would like in the next 5 minutes everyone to go here and just leave your opinion here, leave your view on this question. So thank you for I think we gathered too many answers, really interesting, and I think that grouping them, of course, you can see them here. I shared already them. Some of them are interesting. You can see here that awareness and grouping them, awareness, increased knowledge or benefits, dissemination, for example, television programs for sensibilize the mass. Also, I saw subsidies somewhere here and support of farmers, financial subsidies and support of farmers, incentives also very important. So grouping them, we can make a short takeaway that there are things, there are practices that regional instruments can do to support sustainable farming and, of course, sustainable construction, because this is also another important part of ABC. And we as partners, we can take them as takeaway that awareness building, awareness raising, education about this, about their benefits, financial incentives, subsidies, for example, to farmers or to constructions to use these materials can be another one. And also, I see that there are some interesting discussions, some interesting suggestions and proposals for the way to education, to train and education all these farmers and also policymakers to adapt practice like that could be a part and could be supported through our policy instruments. So I would like to thank you all, and I will give the word to Vich or Nina, I don't know, for some final remarks. I don't know, for a closing part. I don't know if there are other questions before that.
Yeah, that would be my question too, because we didn't hear from at least some areas, some countries, some other countries which may have similar experiences as Eleonora has told about in both Italy and the UK. So maybe any one of you would like to add some words from, let's say, Ukraine or Latvia or the Netherlands?
Yeah, of course.
Anyone? No, I see no hands raised for the moment. But so maybe let's continue. Did you have other points, Thomas, to add?
I think that this was my final point here. What can be the key takeaway to adapt in our instruments?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
Also, therefore, I would suggest for everyone to write down their takeaways and maybe send us later also, because
Yes.
what we also had as feedback early on in our project was that from some of us we got some feedback we had our seminars, our seminars during the meetings in Greece, also the Netherlands earlier on. We'll also have some specific webinars planned during the next semesters. So everyone who has suggestions or wants to join maybe in the next semester to be a speaker in one of our expert webinars or other webinars, feel welcome to also to share your thoughts on that. Other than that, I would like to finish off by thanking, first of all, everyone who contributed to this call, and also to thank everyone else for joining and maybe also joining us later on with his or her suggestions for what we can continue in follow-up meetings and follow-up webinars. Nina, maybe you have some final thoughts too?
No more different final thoughts, I think. Thank you all for contributing to this Expo webinar. It was really interesting. Don't forget to send the presentations for those who presented. We made a recording that we will upload on the website, so the ABC Interreg Europe website. I think that's it from my side. And
Yeah,
thank you, Thomas, as well, for organizing this, of course.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone,
you.
for joining.
Thank you
and
very much. Very
contributing.
interesting.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.